It was.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Cheese Room podcast. I'm the caller joining you live from the Man Cave tonight, and I'm joined by two illustrious guests and one who's live on Sky Sports News right now. Jamie will be joining us shortly. He's been called into work. But before we get to Jamie, let's say hello to our other guests. Brendan, how is Brazil this evening?
This was great. Yeah. Good weekend. Barbecue, beach, the usual. Brazil's good. It's a bit cold. It was weird. I've never been cold in 16 years in Bahia, but this weekend was pretty cold.
Oh, dear. How cold are we talking? I mean, is it Britain cold or is it?
No, it'd be like British summer cold. It wasn't cold, but it was just like, it's very different to what it normally is here. I don't know why I'm talking about the weather.
20 degrees or something?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm out. I'm not moving to a third world country for 20 degrees. Absolutely not. No chance whatsoever. Speaking of the third world, Shan's joining us from up north tonight. Shan, how are you? You okay?
Yeah, wonderful. You just interrupted. Like, without Spurs, I can actually watch things.
Yeah.
So I've actually stopped watching my series on Netflix to be here. So be very, very grateful.
What was your series on Netflix?
RuPaul's Drag Race. I love some cheese.
That is dreadful. Absolutely dreadful.
I love the cheese. I'm also missing Love Island to be here. So
yeah, I mean, that is a load of crap. In fact, one of our patrons, Matt Gibbons, has asked if we can do a show every day while Love Island is on, just so he doesn't have to watch that nonsense on telly. But yeah, I can't believe you watched Love Island. I thought better of you, Shan.
You can't believe I watched Love Island?
No, it's dreadful. Who watches Love Island?
We do.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Bren, will you be swapping some more uni stories with our guest tonight when he arrives?
Yeah, I will, definitely. Yeah. Just a good one. A good one, though.
A good one. I look forward to it. First up, and we've got to say at this point, congratulations to Wales. Look at this. There is no difference. Daddy Davis doing the business, Shan. What more can you say about the man? Can you believe we're trying to sign a left centre back when this heartthrob's in the team?
Firstly, thank you, Stevie. I'm glad that someone here has some taste. Secondly, I've always been an advocate of one Mr. Daddy Davies, and I've always said he's actually very dependable, very reliable, and he's a great person to have in our squad. Others may not have agreed with me, but I've always said it. You can always rely on 7 out of 10s, and he's upped his games, and we're getting 8s and 9s out of 10s from him in the back end of the season, and now you're seeing it for Wales as well. He's a great guy, and I think it says it all that we're looking for competition for Ben Davies, not someone to take Ben Davies' place. I think he deserves to be in the midst of things next season. He's one of the biggest reasons we've got top 4, I think. Some of them blocks, match-winning blocks for me.
Yeah, look, Ben Davies, I've never been a particular detractor of his. I think he's a very average player who's had an outstanding season, if I'm being really honest. I think he is a 7 out of 10, as you described, Shan. He doesn't generally do anything to set the world on fire, but this season his form's been sensational. No real surprise when you play people in their correct positions. I've been saying for years we should be putting Ben Davies in a back three, not as a left back. Bren, how impressed have you been with Mr. Davies?
Very, he's had a superb season, as Shan said. And like she said as well, I don't think we're looking to replace him. I just think we do need competition in every position. We need to up the squad. And so I don't see why we're not signing a left-sided centre-back. He does need competition to push him on. We've got big games coming next season with the Champions League. It's not like last season or the season before where we were playing the likes of Moura and Passos de Ferreira. Like we're going to be playing big games. So both him and Bastoni, if he comes, will get plenty of game time.
No, I agree. Potentially we could be playing like 62, 63 games this season coming. So, it's just great to see him performing at that level, and he's been doing that for Wales at centre back for a long time. I think he was always deployed as sort of the understudy, wasn't he? The understudy to Danny Rose, of all people. But look who's laughing now, Brent?
Yeah, sure, he's laughing, and yeah, well, you're right. The blocks that he gave against Ukraine, superb, like match-winning blocks. Like that's a hat trick, I think he had of blocks. That's as good as a hat trick. The goals look certain. So yeah, happy for him. Happy for Wales. First time in 60-something years. 1958 was it when they last qualified for the World Cup? So great. The celebrations looked amazing. I listened to Ellis James on Guardian Football Weekly today. So emotional. He's a great orator, Ellis James. I strongly recommend you check him out. And yeah, bring it on. Wales in the same group as England as well.
Are they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, crikey.
How do you not know this? You call yourself a football pundit and you don't even know who's in our group for the World Cup. Come on.
The problem is I will have split loyalties because I'm half Welsh. So it does pose a problem for me. Maybe they'll both get through. Be fine.
I think they will. We're in a group with USA and Iran, so sorry for any.
Don't underestimate USA. Actually, they're pretty decent. To be fair, they're pretty decent, and we have a lot of American fans who watch the show. In fact, I think that's our second biggest fan base in the cheese room, the Yanks. So welcome to all of you. Please do hit the like button as well when you come in the room. Yeah, I mean, USA will be a tough team to beat, and we will have full coverage of the World Cup. We'll certainly do some shows around Christmas time when the World Cup's kicking off. So, yeah, why not? Wales and England go through. That would be lovely. There's one really important thing, though, we need to ask the question about, and that is Gareth Bale. So it wasn't exactly a vintage Bale free kick that flew into the top corner, but a deflected free kick nonetheless. Brent, we've had this debate a few times, but did you see anything in the Wales match that made you think, yeah, absolutely, we need to sign him?
Disclaimer: I didn't actually watch the Wales match. It wasn't shown in Brazil, so I saw the highlights though. Yeah, I've been back and forth on the Bale thing because we know he can deliver from the bench. It just depends if he fits Conte, not just the system but the style. Conte demands 100% from every player. Is Bale that player? I don't think he was for Mourinho and Mason. Even in those games, his time had to be managed really well. So would I have him back? I'd love to see him score the goals in front of full crowds at the stadium. It'd be rocking. But I just don't know if it will happen. I think he's the sort of player that will probably go to Newcastle with their money now and be their sort of marquee signing for the summer. But I'm still unsure if I take him or not. The kid in me does, but the pragmatist in me just questions if it's worth the investment.
I mean, what's the investment going to cost, though, Shan? Do you think he's worth it?
I'd love to see him back for sentimental reasons, but yeah, I mean, he's a better option than Lucas Moura off the bench. But is he going to want to sit on the bench when he can be playing and getting minutes? He's only going to want to go somewhere to warm up for the World Cup. So, do we want him to be using Spurs for that? I don't know.
You were saying sign him up not so long ago.
I'd love to see him. Like I say, the sentimentality in me wants to see him back. He's my favourite Spurs player of all time. But also I can understand, as Dave would say, the logical reasons behind it. Will he fit? Will he do what we need him to do? Should we be looking for the next generation of great Spurs players rather than going backwards? So I can see it from both sides. I'm the expert fancier.
Yeah, absolutely. And you are massively on the fence on this one. I mean, look, the thing is with Bale is that he's class in the box, isn't he? He can finish. He can bag in a free kick. His set piece play is pretty amazing. So I'm not necessarily sure that he would be a particularly bad move, but I'm fairly in agreement with Shan. It's the sentiment in me. It's the fact that I want some, life out of my Bale number 9 shirt. Yeah, that's why I want him back. Not because I think that unfortunately Conte would want him back. 'Cause I don't think he would, and that's just the truth, I'm afraid. But yeah, we shall see. We shall see what happens. Good evening to everyone in the chat tonight. Cardiff apparently close to signing him. Would make perfect sense.
He got to the Championship. That's a big.
Becky, yeah. Shout out Becky. And welcome to all our channel members who are joining with us tonight. Please do leave us a chat. Let us know you're here. Send us a super chat. But more importantly, hit the like button. It really helps out the Google algorithm, and we're all about an algorithm on this show. We'll shortly be joined by Jamie Weir from Sky Sports News, get his views on all the incomings or potential incomings we're going to discuss tonight as well. Ukraine, Bren, it's a bit of a sad story, really, isn't it? Should FIFA have done more? Should they have put them through to the final, do you think? Or is that sentiment?
I think that they wouldn't want to go that way. So yeah. I don't think that Ukraine, they'd want to be there on merit. I don't think they'd want to be there through the back door. Of course, what's going on is horrific, but they're sportsmen, they would want to qualify the right way. So I don't think the sort of token gesture of sticking them in anyway, just because there's a war on. I mean, it would sort of keep the war in the news side. I think
that's the point, isn't it? Is to keep, the point is to keep Ukraine front and center of people's minds and not let people forget that what's going on over there. And, it's an absolutely terrible thing and a travesty. Yeah, it's disgusting, obviously, what Russia are doing. But yeah, who knows? FIFA have obviously made their mind up, so it's a moot point anyway. But for me, they should have made sure they got there, to be fair. But yeah. So with Davis's form, Brendan, do you really think we actually need a left-sided centre-back?
You asked me that already. Yeah, I do. I think we need competition all over the pitch. So, like we said, we've got loads of games coming up. Champions League. It's not like we're going to have a B team like before when we roll out Dele and Lascelles and Ndombele to play Mura or whoever. We're going to be playing big teams. We've got 4 competitions. We're going to go for all 4 of them. And we need to up the standard of our squad. And so irrespective of what position, we need quality players to come in. Perisic looks amazing. I saw some of his videos, sort of highlights reels on YouTube today. A superb addition to the squad. And so, yeah, I'm sure we are looking to up the quality of the squad. It doesn't mean that Ben Davies will automatically be dropped. It just means that he's got competition. There's injuries, fatigue. We've got cover, and so it's all positive.
I mean, the reason I ask you again, really, is because there's a rumor going around that Bastoni's now going to reject Tottenham because he won't be able to replace Daddy Davis, and that's his number one concern. Not staying at Inter Milan for the club, but yeah. I don't know. I think it would be a massive surprise if we did sign Bale, and again, just to draw a line underneath it. I just think that that Bastoni is a far more likely candidate to come in. Probably. Let's talk about that for a minute. So we can see how there's been a poll running on our Cheese Room podcast Twitter. We all know how Twitter speaks the truth. Bastoni, do we think Bastoni will be a Spurs player next season? Yes, 55% of the vote. Interestingly, nearly as many people just wanted some cheese as thought no, Brent.
Yeah, we want cheese. Who doesn't want cheese? Yeah, he's quality. Like I saw a video with Inter fans being interviewed about him.
I thought you were going to say you saw a highlight reel on YouTube and decided that he was a great signing.
Yeah, and no, they would be devastated to lose him because I think he's also an Inter fan. So, yeah. The supporters love that sort of one of our own, etc. And I think that might be one of the reasons why this is sort of this may take a while to get over the line because he has to sort of be convinced not just by the project at Tottenham, but to leave Inter, the team that he clearly loves and is loved by the fan base. But Conte has earmarked him as a key target. And we're a great catch as well. Like we've got Champions League, best stadium in the world, one of the best managers in the world, incredible squads. But it looks like we may have to play this one out for a little while longer. But he looks the part, and the financials will be significant. He's not going to come cheap. We're talking sort of 50, 60 million plus for a defender. That's huge for us.
Yeah, I mean that's euros we're talking. I mean in pounds, I think did we spend 45 million sterling on Romero?
We still haven't bought Romero. He's still on loan, isn't he? But yeah,
well, he's being purchased. He's been purchased this summer, so he will be bought. 100%. But yeah, I'm sure it's 45 million. So if we're talking about spending 60 million, what's that? Like 50, 52, 53 million quid. It's that'd be like 100 million pound on 2 centre backs nearest, damn it. Pretty big investment.
Absolutely, but we're going to be playing with the big boys. We've got to spend like the big boys, like City. Remember, City just kept buying fullbacks for 50 million. Like they gave us 50 for Walker. They got Mendy. They got Cancelo. They're just dashing out 50 million quid here, there, and everywhere for their fullbacks. So we want to compete with that sort of level of spending. Then we got to put the money where the mouth is. This is why the club has made the announcement about the 150 million. I'm sure there'll be more. I'm sure that there'll be money coming in from player sales as well. So we can afford it. It's just whether he wants to come and be part of the journey under Conte.
I mean, I saw a tweet from Fabrizio Romano this evening saying that negotiations hadn't started with Inter over Bastoni yet. So it does appear to be a long way off, Bren. I mean, in the what you hear, if you listen to Twitter, if you listen to the news, is that Inter need to sell players to buy, and they've identified some people they would bring in for to replace Bastoni and others, even getting Lukaku back, which we'll come to him later in the show. But it could be a case that Bastoni's forced out the door, right?
Yeah, I saw that they were like one of the reasons that Conte left Inter was exactly that, was the financial situation. I think their owners are Chinese based, and there has been sort of restrictions on spending there, and they've had to sort of generate funds. That's why they had to sell Lukaku and Hakimi and Eriksen. Obviously, they lost because of what happened last year. But yeah, it does look like in order for them to bring in players that they want to get in Gleison Bremer, who I've done a bit of research on as well. He's closer to home than I thought, and he's just won Defender of the Year in Serie A, and the last one was pretty decent. So
he was all right. He was all right. Franco just commenting there, decent amount of cash, but not when Harry Maguire cost 80 million quid. It's a fair point, isn't it, Shan? 80 million for Harry Maguire. I wonder how much they'd get back for him these days.
About 50p.
Can't hear you, Shan. For some reason, I cannot hear you. The consummate professional that is Shan. There you go. She's muted herself now.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, keep talking.
Yeah.
No, you've gone. I think what you're saying is about 50p, which is
about
fine.
50p.
Hey, there we go.
There we go.
According to Seb, who's got his excellent transfer show on a Sunday night now, Bastoni would be great, but Inter are desperate for cash. They've even asked if we can take Skriniar if we don't take Bastoni. You'd take Skriniar as well, wouldn't you, Bren?
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of going back to last summer now, isn't it? Or summer before, wasn't it? That doesn't Jose want him? So 2 years ago, and he's still around. He's like João Moutinho again. So yeah, like if they need to raise funds, either of those were good. I don't know what side Skriniar plays on. Hey, Jamie.
Hello. Sorry, I'm so late.
Jamie. Like, something happened. Next thing I know, you're on my TV. But I tell you what,
yes, I've just come straight from the TV. Yeah. Big breaking news in the world of golf tonight, but I've changed back out of my Sky gear back into my footballing gear. I've been playing football tonight, so that's why I'm looking so greasy. Apologies.
Have you been playing football?
Yeah.
How many aside?
5 aside. I've been huffing and puffing. Let me show you, actually. This is Caller and Bren will appreciate this. Shan is far too young to remember this. But this is the shirt I've been playing in tonight. Look at that beauty.
Yes.
That's a gorgeous kit.
That is.
I think that was the third kit in 1993.
I remember it.
You're right. I'm definitely
long before Shan was even born.
Yeah. Well, you were.
Sorry, what have I missed? Fill me in.
What year was Shan born? I can't. What was it? I love the fact you're thinking about this, Shan. The year you were born.
I didn't hear that because my dogs just like attacked each other over a cow hoof. What year was I born?
Yeah.
95.
There you go. See, -2. What did you miss, Jamie? You missed a few bits. So we talked about Gareth Bale. What did you make of Wales yesterday? And Davis. Davis was quality, wasn't he?
Well, I mean, I'm not going to crow about it. You know that I've been self-appointed lifetime president of the Ben Davis fan club for a long time now. And when all of you horrible Spurs fans have been so rude about Ben Davis, I've been the one banging the drum and saying he is a great player. He's a proper professional. Every manager wants a player like Ben Davis in their squad. He was absolutely sensational yesterday. And look, Wales got a bit lucky. Ukraine were the better team. But I'm just delighted for all the Welsh people I know, delighted for Ben Davis, delighted for Gareth Bale, delighted for Joe Rodon, even though I don't know how long he'll be a Spurs player for. But just those scenes were fantastic last night in Cardiff. So congratulations to them. And yeah, just a wonderful night to be a Welsh football fan, I think. But Ben Davis, for me, was just the man of the match and carried on the kind of performances that we've seen the second half of the season under Antonio Conte with him as well. He just seems to be going from strength to strength, getting better and better.
Do we need Bastoni if he's playing like that, Jamie?
Well, look, as lifetime president of the Ben Davis fan club, I will say that whilst he is a fantastic footballer, he's not world class. He can put in a great shift, and he's a wonderful squad player to have. But I think you want to improve all over the pitch, don't you? Would Ben Davis walk into Manchester City or Liverpool's lineups? No. So if you can get a genuinely world-class defender like Bastoni, who has obviously that telepathic relationship down the left-hand side with Ivan Perisic as well, then it seems like a no-brainer to get him. And then you've got a player of Ben Davis's quality to come in for matches against lesser opponents or matches at the weekend when we've just played Champions League in midweek. You know, what a great option to have coming off the bench. So, yeah, look, obviously we need to improve the squad in a number of areas, and I think left centre-back is one of them, but I love Daddy Davis, I'm not going to lie.
Daddy Davis is the man. And
Can I call you Daddy if you want?
I mean, that clip is just wonderful, isn't it? He looks so awkward. He looks like, look, he's a sensational footballer. I don't think he's a great ladies' man or a great flirt because he does not really know what to say in that situation at all, does he?
If you want, yeah.
If you want.
And Mr. Bale scoring a worldie of a free kick once more. Would you take him back, Jamie? I mean, the feeling in the cheese room, if I was to summarise, is we all love him, and it would be a lovely trip down memory lane to have him back, even as a squad player. But he'd probably warm the bench most of the season. Isn't really a Conte player, and he's probably a spent force at Premier League level.
I saw this tweet put out earlier on, would you take Gareth Bale? 100%. Why is anybody saying no to that question? You would say no to having Gareth Bale in the squad for a year, with everything that he's won, with the fact that he's a Spurs legend, with the fact that he's still a world-class footballer. And yeah, okay, he's not going to be starting week in, week out, but I mean, what an option to have coming off the bench, and what an option to, give Son or give Kulusevski a little bit of a rest by bringing Gareth Bale in against, I was about to say a Burnley, they're not in the Premier League anymore, but bringing Gareth Bale in against a Fulham or a Bournemouth or a Leeds, at the weekend when we've just played Champions League on the Wednesday night. I mean, what a player to have in your squad. And he's desperate to get some quality football under his belt before the World Cup in Qatar as well. It's an absolute no-brainer. Why wouldn't you want Gareth Bale in your squad? And he's homegrown. We've got no homegrown players. We need as many as we can get.
I just wish that Dave was here.
I feel like it's a good question for Dave.
To absolutely, but he is in the chat. So Dave, maybe you can send a retort in. Dave has been, I wouldn't say anti-Bale, but he thinks we should move on from GB.
But why would you not want him for 1 year only?
I mean, if I was going to play devil's advocate,
just to fight Dave's corner a bit, my question would be if he's a Conte player. Conte demands 100% from every single player every minute they're on the pitch. I can just see Bale. I don't know if Bale's got that in him yet. Still.
I get that. And I think obviously when you're playing away at Anfield or away at the Etihad, yes, you need 11 players absolutely putting in a shift and just not stopping the entire game. But when you're playing a side who've come to White Hart Lane intent on playing a low block and just being impossible to break down, then to have somebody with a wand of a left foot who can just create a moment of magic out of nothing. I mean, what an ace to have up your sleeve. And plus the fact that we didn't really get to celebrate his second coming because it was in empty stadiums all season. And I will never forgive Jose Mourinho for how sparingly he was used that season. Because in the moment that he was used, he showed that he's still a sensational player. My God, I'd love to have him back. And I'd love to have Eriksen back as well. But maybe that's a conversation for another time.
No, we could have it today. I'd take Bale out on a pay as you play. Pay as you play? Yeah, that's what I mean. Pay as you play contract, because I worry about his injury record and Conte's training, his double sessions. Will he be able to hack it, basically? I agree with you, fantastic option. But I suppose the other consideration is he's going to demand a salary of at least 150k a week.
Is he?
Well, I
think he's just so desperate to be match fit come Qatar that he would not do it for free, obviously, but I don't think he's going to demand. He's not going to shoot himself in the foot by demanding exorbitant. I mean, there's talk today of Cardiff City being his destination and playing for Cardiff City. Are Cardiff City going to pay 150 grand a week? I don't think so. So, I mean, the fact is, at Cardiff, he'd be. Is that your dog, Shan?
Well, it's either that or Jack.
She's very upset.
I'm trying to make a really serious point here, and all I'm hearing is.
Sorry, Jack. I'll mute her.
I
mean, the one thing about going to Cardiff is he's obviously going to play 90 minutes every single match day, whereas he's probably not going to do that at Tottenham. So, look, we'll see. But my goodness, I'd love to have him back. I'd give anything to see him back in a Spurs shirt again.
It's an interesting one. Brent, I've got one final point on this. Wales had 2 Spurs players and won, and England had 2 West Ham players and lost. If West Ham won the World Cup, does that mean they lost it in Hungary as well?
Yeah, I kind of see the logic, kind of. So yeah, it was West Ham that lost in Hungary. Another game I didn't watch.
Wow. Absolutely. And if Bastoni doesn't come, we've obviously been linked with Bremer. Now, Brendan, you're Brazilian. You must know a little bit about this chap. He's Brazilian as well, I believe. Plays for Torino.
He is, yeah. I only found out over the weekend, did a bit of research on him. And not only is he Brazilian, but he's from Bahia. He's from the state that I live in. He's not close. Like, Bahia is the size of France and the UK combined. Yeah. So he's a good few hours from me. Or was when he lived here. Played for Atlético Mineiro in Minas Gerais in Belo Horizonte, a team that Seedorf played for a while back in the day. But didn't play there very long. I was snapped up by Torino quite quickly in 2018. Won Italian Serie A Defender of the Year this season, just passed. And if the previous winner of that award is anything to go by, that's a pretty decent award to get. So I'd happily take Bremer. He looks the part. I'm not seen too much of Torino, but going by those stats, Italian, they know how to defend, and he's certainly one of those.
I'm just wondering if you've invited him round for a barbecue yet, or got him. Is he up there? Will he be up there with Sandro for you, or is that
I can't cheat on Sandro. See, the thing is,
I've got these images of like barbecues around Brendan's at the weekend with Aurelio Gomez and Sandro and Paulinho and all the greats, all the Spurs Brazilian greats and McGurty, all just having Sagres together.
Yeah, Sagres in Portugal. I have had a World Cup winner in this house. It was rented by him. Someone rented my house. He was part of the 2002 World Cup winning squad. Do you want to know who it is?
We could try to guess, but it would take a long time. It's not going to be something like, it's not going to be Ronaldo or Cafu or something like that.
Yeah, it was Edmilson. He's from Bahia and was part of the squad. He played against England, came on against England, and been in my house, won a World Cup.
There you go. Not bad.
There you go. I mean, look, you are the man that we'll turn to. You know, if you're not doing videos for Lucas Moura, then it's texting Sandro. You were texting him the other day, weren't you?
Yeah, it was the 1 year anniversary of when we got together. Sounds weird.
Listen to this.
When we got together.
Because I did I don't know if I told you this, Jamie. I did my 2-week quarantine in Lisbon to not have to do the hotel quarantine in Heathrow last year.
Yeah.
And he's been playing in Lisbon. And met up with him. It took me to his apartment.
Man.
Really nice. Loveliest guy. I love the guy. He wants to come to the Spurs game with us, with the fans. But he's saying next year he's still playing. He's still young, 32, 33. So he still wants to play, prove himself.
33. Wow. Fair play.
He's going to come to a game with me and Bren. Bricklayer's Arms. It's going to be an absolute disaster. They don't call him the animal for nothing. Shan, have you ever fallen in love with someone as much as Brendan loves Sandro?
Probably
Rodrigo
not.
Bentancur.
Well,
Bentancur,
I mean, I've never met Rodrigo Bentancur, but he is a lovely guy.
He's a dreamboat.
He is a great guy.
Who's the most handsome Spurs player of recent years? Rodrigo Bentancur, Paulo Gazzaniga, or Fernando Llorente? It's still Big Nando for me.
For his hips, but it's got to be Gazzaniga.
Big Nando for me. Those eyes, they can see right into my soul.
Gazzaniga
is a handsome bugger, but he's
a very handsome man.
He's no Nando.
You wouldn't understand.
Yeah, Nando put us in the Champions League.
That's what I mean.
Semi-final.
His hips, is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. But
this is
anyway.
It.
We've gone off.
We
all
dream of someone looking at us like Brendan looks at Sandro. There you go. Look, Gaz's eyes were a window into another dimension. and David Harris showed his age. Chris Perry. Becky Romero for me.
Yeah.
Quite big ears, I thought, Romero, but there you go.
Wow. You're no oil painting yourself, sunshine.
Why do you think I've got all the mood lighting going on? Somehow,
This is the same man that absolutely slates PEH, saying he looks like a builder.
He does look like a builder.
No, he does not. He doesn't.
He is rough. He wouldn't look out of place on a building site. Absolutely not. And I get that might appeal to some people. Shan, I get it. I'm not saying I don't.
It's not your cup of tea, like pretty boys.
Just exactly.
Yeah.
We should definitely move on.
I agree.
Jamie, as we've got the wonder of your presence tonight, and thank you for joining us. If I haven't mentioned it already, what do you make to this signing here? Then Perisic,
sensational.
Tell us what you think.
Brilliant signing. I mean, he's a proven winner. He's still performing at an incredibly high level. I think I saw some tweets saying that he had the highest running stats in all of Serie A last season. Antonio Conte's system it's so heavily based on the quality of your wing backs. And here is a world-class wing back who has been there, seen it, done it, got the T-shirt, won some of the top honours, played in World Cup finals, will bring so much experience and know-how to the squad. I mean, it's a brilliant, absolutely brilliant piece of business, and hopefully we can get a player of similar ilk down the right-hand side as well.
I think I'm right in saying this. He's older than Gareth Bale.
Probably, but he's still exceedingly fit. I mean, age is just a number these days, isn't it? When you look at somebody like Cristiano Ronaldo Cristiano Ronaldo is still incredibly fit, and sports science and nutrition the way it is. Players can, I think Harry Kane, with the way he looks after himself, will play till he's 37, 38 as well. So, look, if we can get, squeeze 2 or 3 years out of Ivan Perisic, and Ryan Sessegnon can learn what a world-class left wing-back looks like and take his game to a new level as well, then brilliant.
I've got to say,
but also, sorry, I would also just say it's also a sign of a real change of direction in the way that Spurs do business, and they're clearly listening to Antonio Conte, getting the players in that he wants, and not signing these 19, 20-year-old kids on potential anymore. And, they might turn good or they might just end up being hopeless. And all of them have ended up being hopeless. Yeah, well, who knows? I mean, the jury's still out on him. But, he's a known quantity. And when was the last time we signed, a known quantity in his early 30s where you're getting a quality player who's ready-made for Premier League football, I think, the same way as Romero, Bentancur and Kulusevski all have been.
Yeah, you are about sports science and players going on longer. And in fact, I've just taken up father side again.
Oh,
at the age of 40.
God.
May not have mentioned this
Good
on Twitter
man.
a few times, but I did bag a hat-trick week before last.
Seriously. I'm surprised he
yeah.
hasn't mentioned the cut on his knee yet.
Oh, that was nasty.
It was a cut.
Hey, wasn't a cut.
You went on as if it was like a laceration to your leg.
It was. It was nasty.
It was a graze.
Those
was
who
it
know.
Self-imposed though? Did you go in for some spectacular challenge or spectacular shot and do it to yourself?
I did it to myself. What happened was the ball was coming across at pace, and I thought my old legs can reach that.
Yeah.
And ended up sliding very undignified.
20-year-old collar legs might have got to it, but 40-year-old collar legs couldn't quite make up the ground.
Exactly right. Saying. But I learned from that. Bought some of those Harry Kane joggers that he wears in training. I'm all over that.
Yeah.
And I'd just like to say to Mark that that's a different kind of hat trick. But yeah. Yes, absolutely. Jed Spence. So the story rumbles on with young Jed Spence. Apparently a bid has been made, but I read today there's 7 clubs in for him as well. I haven't really spoken to you guys about your opinion on Jed. I'll give you mine before we go anywhere, and then you can tell me what you think. But Jed, to me, good prospect, really good prospect, unproven in the Premier League. Spurs Twitter has, in its usual way, made its mind up that this is an absolute key signing and he's the next, Maldini careering down the flank. I just, honestly, a player so hyped does not come along very often. I'm happy for us to sign him, but I don't think he's going to be our first choice right back when we've got the Doherty in the team, certainly. And is he the kind of player? Yeah, exactly. And is he the kind of player? This is my question. Is he the kind of player we want if Conte is serious about challenging for the league title, which is what he says he wants to do at every club? Bren, let's go to you first, and then I'll come to you two guys.
Yeah, I think the financials look good. They're only Middlesbrough want 15, I think, maybe rising to 20 with add-ons. So it's not going to be an expensive one. It's very sort of Tottenham-y kind of signing like before.
That's what I mean.
Young prospect from the Championship, Sessegnon, Delhi, or Delhi wasn't Championship. You know what I mean? From the Football League. I've seen some of his highlights. I saw the final, the final of the playoff final, and looked decent there. Looked okay. But again, I don't think he'd be challenging. I don't think he's a top 4 player yet. So if we do sign him, maybe see how he does pre-season, and then decide, look, do we loan him out to a lower team down the league like Forest, or do we hold on to him? I think we will need five wing backs, given how important they are to the Conte system, how much running they do. We're going to need to be able to switch them around. So it's an area that we do need to strengthen. And yes, it's low risk for me. So yeah, I'm happy with it.
Shan, your thoughts on Jed? And I would just say that apparently Dortmund, Roma, Newcastle, Brentford and Forest are all willing to pay the fee as well as us.
Well, if Dortmund are after him, that's a pretty good sign that he's decent.
True that.
So if Conte wants him, let's just get him. Let's not mess around. I've seen that Conte's identified him as one of his top targets, but whether that's true or not, we don't know. We will never know. Like Brent says, it's pretty low risk. The one thing that concerns me with Jed Spence is no doubt he's got brilliant ability and he could be a top player if he puts his mind to it. My one concern about Jed Spence is his mind, his attitude. Is he mentally at it? The shade he threw at Neil Warnock, as funny as it was, would we be happy if someone did that to Conte.
Conte would have shoved that cigar somewhere. I can tell you that if that was cut.
I thought that was a bit of fun. I quite enjoyed that. And Neil
Yeah,
Warnock
it
saw
was
the Neil
funny,
Warnock saw
but-
the funny side of it as well.
Yeah. It just
Okay.
concerns. I think there's been whispers about his attitude before, so that concerns me. But if Conte and Paratici want him, do it. Let's get it done. Let's not mess about. Get it done early, so we like we say, we can see what he's like in pre-season, and if we need to loan him out for a season, then it's no biggie.
Okay, Jamie.
Yeah, pretty much just echo what everybody said. I mean, I didn't watch a lot of Forest last season, but what I did see of them, he looked to be one of their better players. He's clearly a talent player with a big future. Whether he's instantly ready for not just the Premier League, but a top 4 Premier League club, I don't know. I think he's got a lot of developing to do, but I mean, who better to develop under than one of the best coaches in world football, and a coach who places so much emphasis on wing backs as well. So I think if he's somebody that Conte desperately wants to get, as Shan says, just get it done. Don't dilly-dally. Don't waste around and, give other clubs like Dortmund a little bit of a, light at the end of the tunnel. Just get it done ASAP. And that's how that seems to be how Spurs are doing their business this summer, which is, makes a great change.
Unheard of. Yeah.
He's thrown some great shade at Arsenal on his previous tweets as well.
Well, we like him then already. That's
great. I wasn't aware of that.
He has thrown some great shade at Arsenal. So, I mean, if he's going to do that, fantastic. Sign him up. He can be our new player that we signed for the vibes, like Galini.
Just like someone like, Galini.
Well, especially if we lose Emerson Royale as well, who's, purely for the vibes. And
if we lose him,
keeps everyone laughing in the dressing room. Yeah.
I feel sorry for Emerson. I do feel
I do as well.
I think he's given everything, and he's not been bad. He's not been as bad as he is absolutely made out to be. He really hasn't. First year in the country,
learning a new position, learning a new language, learning a new culture. It's only 22, 23.
Yeah, just getting ripped to shreds on Twitter. Not that he probably gives a shit about that, to be honest. But there you go. I saw a great rumor today. Gabriel Jesus. So apparently we're all over this. And we're willing to bid 47 million euros for Gabriel Jesus. Seems like a lot of money when Arsenal were talking about a 25 million bid. Shan, Jesus, are you a fan of Jesus?
I mean, he's a winner. He's won stuff. He's still pretty young. He's 25? He can play across the front three, be a very, very decent squad player. And it gives us another option if we want to stick 2 up front. You've got Jesus that has got more than enough ability to play alongside Harry Kane.
Yep.
I don't think he expects to be the main man. I think he just wants to play more than he has at City. So he wants.
Is he going to do that though, Shan? I mean, where does he? He's not going to be in front of any of our front 3, is he? I wouldn't have said.
If we're playing 60 games next season, he's going to get plenty of game time.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't know so much because for Champions League, you're going to want to start your main 3. For Premier League, pretty much you're going to want to start your main 3. So what's he going to get regularly, unless there's an injury?
You're not going to be able to start your main 3 for every Premier League and every Champions League game, though. You're going to wear them out. You're going to get a Kane ankle injury. What happens?
And those last 20 minutes of Premier League games where he can come on and be a game changer. Yeah, I think it makes so much sense for so many reasons. As Shan said, he's a proven winner. He's won Premier Leagues. He is used to English football already. He doesn't need time to acclimatise to the Premier League. And he absolutely, and this is what Pep Guardiola loves about him, works his socks off. He runs himself into the ground every single game. He puts in such a shift. The amount of times you see him back doing defensive work, and Antonio Conte will just love that. And the fact that he can cover a number of different positions across the front 3, he can give Sonny a rest, he can give Kane a rest, he can play alongside Kane, he can play instead of Kane. He's very versatile from that point of view. And as Shan also made the very good point, he doesn't mind being on the bench because he's been doing it for the last 5 or 6 years at City.
Yeah, but would he mind doing it at Spurs, Bren? I mean, he's Brazilian, so I'm automatically thinking you're on board with this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's similar to Jamie. There's no real downside. The fee looks okay for a proven Premier League.
47 million?
Yeah, for Premier League, he's won what, 3 Premier Leagues? He's not that old, as Shan said as well. I don't see the downside. The only thing with him is that he's never done it for Brazil. Like he went like years without scoring for the national team. Tiche sat him down and said, "Look, are you a central attacker or are you a winger, sort of to the side?" And he thought about it and he said, "Well, I like cutting in from the side. I think he plays on the left." And since then he's not really delivered for Brazil. I think he scored recently in the drubbing in these recent friendlies. Yeah, proven Premier League striker. He can play centrally. That's something we've needed. We've needed had the backup to Kane, but someone else in that position. We need competition in every single position. And as Jamie said as well, his versatility. He can play across the front line, works his socks off. I'm surprised that City are letting him go, but maybe Haaland coming in frees him up. But if Haaland gets injured, who's going to be their striker then? So it's
right in saying he's only got a year left on his contract.
Haven't they signed that Argentinian guy as well? I can't remember his name. City, so they'll have 2 strikers because they're not sending him out on loan.
Yeah.
So also Arsenal wanted him. And I can't wait to see the meltdown on Twitter if we snatch Jesus from his grasp. It would be hilarious.
I mean, that might be a reason why he does go to Arsenal over us, because obviously he's presumably got a bit of a relationship with Arteta from his time at City. But it's one of those. I mean, I'm probably the least keen of you three on this move. I just think 47 million quid.
47 million is
euros, I should say.
47 million euros is a lot of money for a player with 1 year left in his contract. You would want to be surely snipping him up for about 25 million or something like that.
Yeah, and ultimately he's someone who's going to warm the bench most of the time, in my opinion. I don't know. I think there's probably better options out there. Don't ask me to give you a few names because I can't, but I'll go and research it. But I'm pretty sure there's better out there. Let's talk about someone who might be on his way out. Mr. Bergwijn.
This makes me sad.
You may have seen this tweet. I want to leave Spurs, that's for sure. Yeah, I mean, Bergwijn, he changed his career at Spurs with those 2 goals at Leicester, but I think he only sort of got a stay of execution. It doesn't look like he's going to extend beyond the end of this season. 3 years left on his deal, it's worth saying. And apparently we're looking for a fee in the region of 30 million euros, which is pretty much what we bought him for. And to be honest, doesn't seem like that much for a player who has the ability level of him. Jamie, I'm just going to go grab a bottle of water while you're talking.
Yeah, look, it looks as if Stevie Bergwijn's days at Tottenham are numbered, and I think it's very sad. I think there's obviously a very talented player in there, and he gives us an option that we don't really have with the rest of the squad. He's clearly a confidence player, and he went through a real sort of rut where he wasn't scoring goals. We will always remember the end of that game at the King Power Stadium back in January. It was just sensational. And I think Antonio Conte loves him and has spoken about the fact that he sees him as a potential number 9. But we've just spoken about Gabriel Jesus' versatility, and Steven Bergwijn does the same thing as well. And I think he's got the pace to frighten defenders. I think he's a really, really great squad player to have. But he clearly wants to get some football under his belt before the World Cup and wants to go back home to Holland, and fair play to him. We wish him well. But if we can get 30 million euros, then I think that's pretty good return on our investment, and we move on and try to spend that money on someone else.
Do you think that Jesus would be an upgrade on Bergwijn?
Yes, I do, personally.
Yeah. His output, like his stats, like we get more goals.
He's proven. Stevie Bergwijn is still, there's still a lot of potential and unproven with him, whereas Gabriel Jesus, you're getting a man who's won 4 Premier League titles and scored goals for Manchester City for fun. And okay, he gets great service from the players that they've got. But...
Shan, how do you feel about Bergie?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a surprise after the dusty car analogy, is it, that he came out with earlier in the was it in the January window he did that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's his time to go. If Lucas isn't going to go, then he's got to go, and we can get more money for him than we can Lucas anyway. I do think 30 million euro is low. I do. We could probably get more than that, but if he don't want to go, we don't need that vibe around the squad. So
on the fee, Shan, so I reckon there's going to be a hefty sell-on clause as well. If the fee's staying low, that's going to be one of the negotiations. Is right. If the fee is as low as 30, we get a sell-on 15% of selling, because there's a player there, and he won't stay at Ajax for the rest of his career. So he picks up some form, a big team comes in for him, and we'll get more that way. But I think 30 million is about right. It's a shame that Leicester, those Leicester goals were the nearest thing to Ajax I've had. I was running around the room when they went in. It was a great moment. But yeah, he wants to go, bless him, and fair play. Sorry to jump in there, Sean.
That's all right. I was waiting for an ambulance with COVID when he scored those Leicester goals. So I was actually on the phone to 111, and I celebrated. Not that I really could, and I put myself in a lot of pain doing that because my voice was awful. But yeah, I mean, it was great, and it was Leicester, so even better because for some reason there's some rivalry there now. But yeah, I do just think his Spurs career has just been a bit
start.
Yeah, it's not really taken off, has it? It's been very lackluster, apart from that game at Leicester. So
well, and the goal. I mean, on his debut against Man City, I was literally like thinking, "Oh my God, look at this! What have we signed here?" When I think scored that goal.
A real sliding doors moment for him in his Spurs career was that game at Anfield when we went there. Were we top of the league and they were second, or they were top and we were second, or whatever?
Yeah.
Which seems crazy to think that we then managed to finish 7th that season. But that when he had those two really good chances, and one of them was a great save from Alisson. But you just think if either of those go in, and he's the man who wins a game for Spurs at Anfield, then that could have just been the confidence boost he needed to just smash through the glass ceiling. And who knows what sort of Stevie Bergwijn we would have got. But after that, he then suffered a real dip in confidence. And I just don't think we've seen his true quality, with the exception of that King Power Stadium game, since.
Mainly due to the manager, to be fair.
Yeah, mainly due to the manager throwing him under the bus.
Totally. I mean, there was a good example, really, of how not to manage someone after a disappointment. Yeah, absolutely. Well, look, Stevie, let's hope we get a good fee for him. That's all I can say. I mean, if you look at it, the reason I asked the Jesus question is because obviously if you're getting 30 million euro back for Bergwijn, then he's cost you a net 17 million euros, and suddenly that doesn't seem too bad, does it?
For someone whose output is statistically a lot better than Bergwijn's and is proven and has won stuff and has that mentality, absolutely.
And it doesn't make too much of a dent in that 150 million that's just ready for us to go in for Mbappe or someone. Yeah, that's
I just want to say, if Stevie does go, I wish him all the best, and I genuinely hope he discovers the potential, like he realizes the potential he's got, and does turn into a top player, because I do think he's a genuinely nice guy. It just hasn't worked.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I mean, that's a name, Martinez. He's one we've been linked with, obviously, since last January. It's good that it's not that noisy about that right now, though, is it, Jamie?
I'm going to be completely honest here and say I don't know who we're talking about there. Apologies.
Martinez.
Martinez, into the Milan forward.
Oh, right.
Just say no.
Look, you're talking about Lautaro Martinez.
Yeah.
Right. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, that has gone quiet. That one. You're right. I mean, I don't know how. There's all the talk about Inter Milan are completely skint and they desperately need to recoup some money from somewhere. I mean, I don't know what they did with the 90 million euros they got from Romelu Lukaku only a year ago. But if they need money again, then I don't know. If you had to either get Lautaro Martinez or Bastoni, and one or the other, I think Bastoni would probably be what I'd want. Are Inter Milan going to let both go?
I think their fans would
Hopefully they're
lynch
getting in.
the board if they did.
Yeah.
There's already a lot of unrest and from the Inter Milan faithful on social media, even worse than like we think that the stuff that Levy gets is bad. I mean, those guys are another level. So I think
that's true.
if they did that, there'd be no. They didn't do it last. The reason we missed out on Martinez last summer was because Lukaku went to Chelsea. So are they going
that's another? To be fair, that's another one that we've been linked to this week, Lukaku, which I can't see Chelsea dealing with us, to be perfectly honest. But would you take him, Shan? Would you take Lukaku? Shan, are you there? Nope, Shan is not there.
That's what she thinks about. That's what she thinks about Lukaku.
Hello. Can you hear me? All right.
I can.
Lukaku, would you take him at Spurs?
Only if Conte really, 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 really wanted him, like desperately wanted him. He's just bad vibes, isn't he?
The only thing I'd say is Conte worked absolute wonders with him at Inter. Wonders. I mean, turned him into a proper player. So
yeah, but that's Italy. This is the Premier League.
Yeah, it's a much faster pace of football.
Too slow, too heavy-footed for the Premier League. He's never done it. Every time he's been in the Premier League, he's never really realised that Serie A potential he had at Inter Milan. So, yeah, I mean, if Conte really wants him, then great. But I would rather we didn't sign him, if I'm honest.
Okay, Jamie?
Yeah, I mean, I just think you're right that Antonio Conte definitely got the very best out of him. He had that one sensational season in Serie A, but it's a very different pace of football there. This last season at Chelsea's been a real disappointment. I thought that was a transformational signing when they made it last summer. I thought, right, Chelsea are serious title contenders here, and it hasn't worked out for them, which is a shame. But I think there are better strikers out there, and you're talking about somebody who's going to command a huge wage, and obviously Chelsea aren't going to sell to Spurs anyway. So I think it's a non-starter.
The only way this makes sense for me, Bren, is if we move to a 3-5-2 and you need two big strikers up top.
So you're going to bump Son for him? Well, no, I don't think it's a starter. His wages are too high. There's talk he wants to go back to Inter. Apparently, he's been messaging the directors and people there. So how Inter have the money? Maybe they'd raise the money through the sale of Bastoni or someone of a similar sort of fee and value. I reckon he may go there on loan. It's not worked for him at Chelsea, and there has been issues between him and Tuchel. But I wouldn't have him at Spurs. Like we're saying, he's a bit too lead-footed. He was great, like when he was playing for West Brom and Everton. When it was explosive. He was like, wow, there's a striker. But just sort of gradually, I think maybe the pace has just caught up with him, and so he may go back to Inter, but I wouldn't take him at Spurs. The financials wouldn't make any sense, and Chelsea would never sell to us.
No.
Willow also says she doesn't want Lukaku at Spurs. Can confirm. She just told me.
141 people watching, only 51 likes. Look at that shirt Jamie's worn specially for us tonight. It is a quality.
Dean Austin vibes.
Dean Austin. Christ, he was awful on it.
Is either Teddy or Dean Austin that shirt reminds
me
of?
Teddy, definitely Teddy.
First game of that season away at Newcastle, I think we wore it. I remember Teddy scoring twice.
Yeah.
Christian Eriksen, moving on slightly. Apparently, he said he's going to give Brentford an answer in 2 weeks' time, which leaves him plenty of time to negotiate with other clubs. Man United also in the mix on this one apparently now, which unsurprising, I suppose, when Ten Hag is now the manager. Bren, Eriksen just would look wrong in a Man United shirt, wouldn't it?
Yeah, well, apparently, talking to people from the Supporters Trust, they said that Man U were in for him before, but he didn't want to go there. He wanted to go to Madrid. You know, he had that period when he was with us when he wanted to leave. I'd take him back. Like, I think that we've seen from his performances for Brentford, he's still got it. as Jamie said, it's great to have him as an option off the bench. He doesn't fit the system that we have, but if we do have teams that are sitting deep and we need a sort of creative spark in midfield, he can pick a pass, he can unlock the defence, as they say. I'd take him back. And I'm not going to say the phrase I said on Friday, I'd take him back in a heartbeat, wasn't the right turn of phrase. But yeah, I'd love to see him back in Spurs.
Jamie, you dreaming of Eriksen's corners again?
I mean, it's quite extraordinary that somebody who's obviously such a good free kick taker is such an appalling corner taker. It's one of the truly baffling questions in football. But look, I'd have Eriksen back immediately as well. I almost said the same thing. Let's get the whole band back together. Let's get Bale back. Let's get Eriksen back. What's Les Ferdinand up to these days? Let's get them all back. I'd love to have Eriksen back, and I completely agree with what Brent says. When you're playing those sides that have come to White Hart Lane intent on just playing for a 0-0, then somebody who can just pick out a pass and put it in a plate for Sonny or for Kane, then I'd love to have him back. And again, like Bale, he's desperate to get football under his belt before World Cup.
Did you see Eric Dyer's tweet?
Yes, Matt Hayes, absolutely. Let's get Moussa Dembele. Still the greatest player I've ever seen in a Spurs shirt.
Yeah, it's something along the lines of remember what it was like to be stealing a living. Eric Dyer, bless him.
Yes, brilliant.
Yeah, intelligent guy. Yeah, Eriksen would be a great signing as we have Champions League. It has to put us at the top of the list. You would think so. I mean, there was the way he left Spurs wasn't probably the best, but he's probably got a little bit of a different perspective now. Shan, Eriksen, what say you?
I've already said it. I'd absolutely love for Eriksen to come back. We have a habit of doing this though, not replacing players that we sell and then replacing them with themselves.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, no, we definitely need someone that has that creativity in the midfield. Obviously, we've seen Bentancur pull off some really good passes. Højbjerg as well with them balls over the top. But in those low blocks, we do need someone that's just got that next level of passing ability. His free kicks as well. I hope Sonny continues to take corners because Eriksen cannot beat the first man.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd love nothing more than to see him back in a Spurs shirt. And someone said on my show, I think it was, why taint his legacy? He could come back and it not go very well. But what if he came back and it went really well? He won a trophy with us and it was
fairy tale.
Christian Eriksen.
Conte loves him as well. Conte loves him.
Conte said about him when he actually first signed for us and he was staying in the same hotel as Eriksen, that he would never rule out Eriksen coming back. And I can imagine they've already had conversations about it leading up to this. So yeah, I think we'd all love to see it. CE23, make it happen. Who's got his shirt number now?
Who's got 23? That's a good question. Is 23 still untaken?
Tell us in the chat. I'm sure someone in the chat will absolutely know. With it, you're all absolutely spot on. For me, Eriksen, just if we're going to have a title tilt or come close to Liverpool and City, we've got to be able to beat teams that sit deep. And if it's not Eriksen, we need to find someone who's
got 23.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
So, CE23 is back in the house, right? In my mind, anyway.
There's no problem whatsoever.
Bergwijn goes back to Eriksen's first club, Ajax. Eriksen comes back to Spurs. He takes 23. It's all sort of the circle of life.
Self-fulfilling prophecy. Look, the reality is we've got to be able to beat these teams. So I suppose my point would be, and we'll see this as we go through the window, it'd be interesting to see what other playmakers of Eriksen's ilk, if we're not signing Eriksen, we would be interested in, because we need someone that can unlock a defence. We absolutely do. We've got no. It's great that we're upgrading the fullbacks, but you need a playmaker in that midfield. And I can't see GLC or Tongi Ndombele coming back and doing it. Absolutely not.
I forgot Tongi existed. Why do you do this to me every single show? You've just ruined
triggered.
Absolutely triggered.
Let's talk
about his contract. Just let him go. Let him go and eat at Chip King or something, because I'm done.
I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll do something even better than that. I won't talk transfers for the next 5 minutes. I just want you to feast your eyes on this. So the new kit is that is the new kit. It is on sale. It's been put out early in Australia, where Aaron Jolly, bless him, the founder of the Cheese Room a couple of years ago, went undercover to Rebel Sports. It seems they do it every single year over there. They just accidentally put the new Spurs kit out. Can I get some thoughts around the Cheese Room about this? And let us know in the chat what you think. Will you be rushing out to pay the £70 this will no doubt cost? Jamie, I mean, you're wearing a classic kit. What do you think of this one?
Exactly. No, exactly. I prefer the classic kits. I like my 30-year-old shirt. Thank you very much. Not a fan of neon yellow anywhere on any football kit. Just looks garish. Not sure I really like the circular collar. I mean, there's not. I feel for Nike in a sense. There's not really much you can do with a plain white kit, is there? There's not really many frills you can put in a plain white kit. I always prefer the away kits, so the jazzy sort of second or third kits they come out with. So it's fine. And look, I'm not saying anything that hasn't been said 100 times before, but having a sponsor in red on a Tottenham kit. Ugh.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not a fan of it either. The only night kit that I've enjoyed is I think it was the second season, the away kit, the purple one, because it was quite similar to the Klinsmann. When he scored the header against Sheffield Wednesday, he was wearing the purple kit with the sort of crosses there. That was the only night kit that I've fallen in love with, and I bought. Well, I bought others, but they've just not delivered for us really with the kits. I wasn't a huge fan of the second and third kits, the lava lamp one and the purple mishmash one.
Purple was grotesque last season. I quite like the one with the galaxy or whatever you want to call it. I like that one. Not that I wear it myself. I'm a 39-year-old man, but I did like it. Yeah. Where's he gone? Where's he cleared off to? Have we bored him?
We lost our host. I'll get the run sheet up. So you can't, Shan, your thoughts on the kit?
Yeah, it's not the best one, but will everyone buy it? Absolutely, because that's what we all do. I always think this as well. I weren't a massive fan when we released last season's kit, but then when you see it on the players, it always looks so much better.
That's true.
But then everyone thinks, actually, that's not so bad. I'm going to go and buy that. It's like the away kit. We saw it in that pre-season friendly against my hometown club, Colchester United, and just thought, do you know what? That's nice. That's a nice bit of kit, that. So yeah. I mean, Matty Hayes has got it spot on.
Bentancur on the back.
Bentancur on the back, absolutely.
So yeah, I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of. I think this season's one was very plain. I think that's probably the only good thing about it. I think they didn't screw it up. Like the one with the Mourinho season with the zigzags down the side and the dodgy collar. Just not doing it for me. So apparently our women's team will be playing their home games at Brisbane Road.
Great news. Saw that Leyton Orient. Yeah, that's good.
Continuing our relationship with Leyton Orient, obviously with Justin Edinburgh managing them. Good friend of the show, Charlie Edinburgh, is still very active there with the Justin Edinburgh stand and the J3 Foundation games. So makes sense.
Harry Kane still sponsors their kits, doesn't he? I think, or he certainly did last season. So it's a good relationship there, and a good pal of mine, Kay, was the press officer at Leyton Orient, and then became the press officer at Tottenham. He's now moved on again, but Johnny Davis is a lovely big fella. So there's always been links between the two clubs, and the Spurs women team are we should be incredibly proud of them. They had a brilliant season last season. They kind of ran out of gas towards the end of it and tailed off a bit, but they were in a genuine sort of another top four race for the majority of last season in the WSL. And I took my two little girls to go and watch them play at Reading. Reading's my local club. And the first time I've taken my two girls to a football match, and they got to see a goalless draw. I don't think there was a single shot on target either. So they're now never coming to a football match again. But yeah, no, fair play to the women's team. They've done a really good job.
Yeah, I did similar. I took my son to a World Cup game here in 2014. He doesn't care about football at all. He just sat there eating popcorn, drinking Coke. It was Iran versus Bosnia as well, so it wasn't really the. But I was like,
I thought you were going to say it was Brazil 1, Germany 7, where the Brazilian fans were threatening to riot by halftime. That would have been a good game to take them to.
Yeah, that was It was good. It was I think it was 3-1 in the end to Bosnia.
Right.
So yes, I've seen Iran are in England's group this coming World Cup as well. So I have actually seen. I've never seen England play, but I've seen Iran play. So anyway,
Yeah.
whilst Paul has gone, I got a self-indulgent thing here from Bristol. So we saw today that our current Prime Minister had the vote of no confidence, survived it.
Yeah.
In my final year at uni, I dated a girl that went to Bristol Uni, and one day one of her flatmates came round and she was talking that she just pulled a certain Ewan Blair, son of then Prime Minister Tony Blair.
Yeah.
Were you mates with him at all, or was it any?
No, I wasn't mates. I wasn't mates with him. I bumped into him a couple of times in nightclubs, and I remember being particularly arrogant and aware of who he was and how powerful. Well, he wasn't powerful, but aware of how powerful his dad was. So no, I didn't know him at all. But I was aware of him. Yes. Yeah. That's it. I didn't come on the Cheese Room podcast this evening expecting to be talking about you and bloody Blair, but there you go. We go off at some strange tangents on this show, don't we?
We do indeed. Just seeing what else is in the run sheet. So Lionel Messi scored all 5 times for Argentina against Estonia, taking his total to 82 goals in 162 games. I think that's a record as well. He's beaten Puskás, or was that no? It was Ronaldo that beat Puskás.
I know who we should talk about, by the way. So speaking of Lionel Messi indirectly, Poch potentially being replaced by Jose Mourinho again for a second time. We know how that went the first time.
Look, how disrespectful can it be to have that happen twice?
I know.
I mean, I will genuinely feel very sorry for Poch if that happens again, because Jose Mourinho is horrendous. He's past it. Do they really? Gee.
But he's just won the Europa Conference League.
It's the Conference League. It's not the Champions League.
No.
And
in many ways, it seems like the perfect fit, Paris Saint-Germain and Jose Mourinho. It's almost like it was written in the stars that this had to happen at one point. One of the most divisive managers in the game and one of the most toxic clubs in the game. So it seems like it was a matter of time before it did happen. I just want Poch to end up somewhere where they appreciate him and value him and don't give him the abuse that the Parisian fans have given him.
Well, a lot of people are shooting Pochettino for the England job because no one wants Gareth Southgate in charge come the World Cup. Because, I mean, not selecting Eric Dyer is a sackable offence, in my opinion. Disgusting.
I think, yeah. Well, there's 2 sides to it. I saw Jamie, you tweeted something that a guy was sort of on TalkSport and was saying that Southgate is a failure.
I don't get it. Look, I don't get it. I'm not an Englishman, obviously, but I'm not at the stage where I've lived in this country long enough that I cheer for England when it comes to major tournaments. And I think Gareth Southgate's brilliant. He's England's most successful manager since Alf Ramsey. That is a fact. And I think what he's done is maybe I'm wrong in this regard, but what I thought he'd done was he had made a public that had fallen out of love with the English national side fall back in love with them again, and suddenly proud to be an England fan again. And that I got swept along in that sort of wave of emotion last summer when England made it all to the final. And I just thought it was brilliant. And then when the final, let's face it, they're a penalty shootout away from being European champions. And when a couple of penalties are missed, the speed at which people turn on him and say, Southgate's bloody useless. He got it completely wrong. He shouldn't have done this. He shouldn't have done that. Well, all of a sudden, a couple of penalties are scored or Pickford saves a couple and they're European champions. It's just the margins are so fine at this level of the game. And I look, I'm a big fan of Gareth Southgate. I don't want him managing Tottenham, but I think he's a great national manager. And I think what he's done is he's got everybody in that squad invested and together, and they're a unit and they clearly enjoy each other's company. And I don't think you can put a price on that, because for a decade, England had players who were insanely talented, who underperformed every single major tournament because they couldn't stand the sight of each other. Chelsea players couldn't play alongside Manchester United players. Rio Ferdinand couldn't be in the same room as John Terry. Now you've got a squad who all adore being in each other's company, and Southgate deserves the credit for that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think that's a lot of the times the national team manager is just someone that has to bring them together. You don't get that much time on the training pitch to implement tactics and stuff. But there has been the accusation that he's probably a bit too negative, that this is some of the best young players in a generation for England, and maybe he's not utilising them as best he could. But like you said, the best in South Ramsey is certainly better than Capello and the Wally with the Brolly.
And yeah.
So yeah, I'm
he
happy.
Still failed to pick Eric Dyer off the back of his best season.
I'm happy with that.
Dyer should have been in the squad, but look, I still think Dyer will be in the squad come the World Cup.
Yeah,
I'm
happy he's got the summer off. Like, he's recharged. We've got a big season coming up. You're right. It baffles the mind that he's putting Guehi and Cody and Ben White ahead of the defender who got us top four. Like him and Ben Davies, Romero. That solid defense. That's what got us top four. Obviously, the goals are important, but without that base, there's no way we'd have got to the top four. So yeah, I'm happy that he's got the summer off, put his feet up, hang out with Dembele, do a few barbecues, and get ready for a grueling pre-season with Conte.
That England game as well at the weekend was just so boring to watch. It was dreadful.
I didn't watch it, but look, it's a friendly being played in June at the end of a long, tiring season. I really don't read too much into it. So, but I imagine it probably was pretty boring. Friendlies usually are. And the difference when you then watch that Wales-Ukraine game last night where there's something riding on it, I mean, that was just brilliant to watch from start to finish.
You're back.
He's back.
A few little Wi-Fi issues going on. So I can't guarantee I'll be back for long.
For a second there, I thought you said a few little wife issues going on.
It's funny
that would explain why you're away for 15 minutes.
There's a few wife issues there, let me tell you. She's just locked me out of the house. So I was trying to get in and reset the Wi-Fi router, and she's put the key the other side of the door. Obviously, I've got a key. I'm like, what? So I had to ring her up. Bless her, she just got to sleep. I was like, what are you doing? Why would you do that? Anyway, did we decide the kit was shit? Did we?
Shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I said it's not great. It's not great, but everyone will still buy it.
Shan says it's a grower. When she sees it on the sculpted physique of Rodrigo Bentancur, she's going to change her mind.
But yeah, the fluorescent trim just doesn't do it for me. Like I think the Crouch one, when we got top four the first time, the Puma one with the yellow trim, that grew on me. So you might be right, but just the fluorescentness, it's not for me.
I quite like fluorescent though, but I suppose I am a generation younger.
Yes, exactly.
It does look like someone's taken a highlighter pen to the collar. That's what I would say about it. But yeah. I mean, I genuinely say this. I always say this. Some shirts do look better on.
Is this true, by the way, what Andrew Page has just sent in? Is that true?
I don't know what he said. What's he said?
Stevie B just scored twice for Holland. Are they playing twice?
I don't think Jamie knows, Scholar, so you have to explain what happened at Leicester.
I left the Leicester game early. Do I really?
Oh my God, really? Again? I wasn't aware of that. You know
this.
You bloody live in the East Midlands as well, don't you? It's only a short journey home for you. Oh my God, that's a disgrace.
I was sat in the home end.
Oh really? So you wouldn't have been able to go bonkers anyway.
No, exactly. Well, I would.
I learned my lesson. I left the Arsenal 4 Spurs 4 game 5 minutes early, and was just reaching Highbury tube station or wherever at the time that Lennon scored the equaliser in that. So I learned my lesson that night.
The away end.
I was amongst Gooners.
So you get there is a rationale there as to why. You know.
Well, the rationale was I was on a 7 a.m. flight the following morning to Spain. I hadn't packed yet, so I thought, "Fuck this! I'm not going to sit around and watch Spurs get beaten by the Gooners. I need to get home and pack my sunnies for my holiday tomorrow." And then as I'm on my way back, walking back down towards the tube station, I see some Spurs fans going crazy in a pub, and I'm like, "What are they cheering about? We've just been beaten 4-2." Little did I realise that we've scored twice later on. So, yeah, I'm never leaving a game early after that.
There you go. I'll probably still.
I mean, there
if the
must be
situation was
fans.
the same.
There must be fans who left Amsterdam, who left Ajax early.
Oh, 100%. We've got a couple of people that went to Amsterdam and then didn't even go to the game. But, that's a story for another day. Capture this.
So good.
Oh, it's brilliant.
What I want to know is, what's John Terry doing just behind Sadiq Khan?
Yeah, I know. What was the tweet? The tweet was something like, that's gone viral now. Prince George looks like he's sending Louis on with 5 minutes to go to find a winner, and William's giving him the instructions. It's so good.
Yeah. Okay, so what's your best caption for this then, Bren? Did you watch the concert?
No, I didn't. Sorry, I saw the Paddington Bear thing, but how can you better that caption? That's the guy smashed it out the park with the looks like the manager. Keir Starmer is the third goalkeeper, sort of contemplating his life decisions. Sadiq Khan, he's the assistant man. He's the kit man, maybe. But yeah, no, you can't better that caption. The guy smashed it with that tweet.
Yeah, maybe. I
think Zaratin could do a job off the bench as well. I reckon she's won Sports Personality of the Year. She's a natural sports person.
John Terry's just there eyeing up his next victim.
Yeah. I've got to say, I thought it would be something about Rod Stewart, like, don't ever let yourself let go that much.
Where's Rod Stewart?
Rod Stewart was on stage.
Was it a concert?
Oh, right, yeah.
Honestly, he looked like he'd been electrocuted. It's a mess, like worse than usual. It was awful. It's tragic.
I unfortunately missed it all, but there you go.
There you go, indeed. And Spurs women have got a new home for next year. Did you know?
Yeah, we've discussed this whilst you were off.
Have you?
Yeah, dealing with your Wi-Fi issues. Yeah.
In that case, I'll wrap there unless there's anything else. For any of you guys.
We all agreed it was a good thing, and it continues Spurs' relationship with Leyton Orient, which is lovely.
It does, and it means, I think I'm right in saying that the hospitality will probably be upgraded.
Oh my God!
So all I'm going to say is Steve Diver, when he gets his free tickets, will be even more insufferable than normal. Is that what you thought I was going to say, Shan?
No, I thought you were gonna. You know what you're like, Mr. Man of the People, and his hospitality.
People.
Absolutely not a man of the people. Matty Hayes will agree as well.
Well,
he's very upset with you, caller.
Why is he upset with me? What have I done? Listen, I am a man of the people, clearly, because my broadband's crap, just like everyone else. So there you go. Pay for super fast fibre, and you get third world Brazilian internet here in the Midlands. There you go. Right. We will wrap it there. Bren, thanks very much for joining us again. It's been a pleasure. And thanks for all of you for stepping into the breach, seasoned broadcasters that you are, when my lovely Wi-Fi went down. Thank you very much, Bren.
Cool, mate. Anytime. See you again this week.
Well, we've got so much
stuff going on. What time is it with you, Bren?
It's 6:30 in the evening.
Lovely balmy evening. Is the sun just going down over?
It is
over Copacabana, but you don't live in Rio. You live in the arse end of nowhere.
You're looking very tanned as well. I saw you on Instagram. You recently come back from holiday, is it?
Just got back from Greece yesterday. Yes, with the family. So this is my Irish olive skin that you're seeing.
Yeah. Shan, thanks for joining us, and thank your dogs as well.
Willow's input was very, very important, I'll have you know. But thank you for having me, and I'll be back Wednesday with the Shan Show. Guests to be confirmed.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that will be interesting. I'll definitely be tuning in for that. There's so much going on. We've got the Shan Show Wednesday. We've got our show on the Friday, Friday Cheese. And then on Sunday, the legend that is Seb will be back with Seb's Sunday Transfer Talk. Jamie, I'm sure you'll be tuning in for all of those.
Absolutely.
And thanks again for joining us.
No, thanks for having me. And sorry I was late. And just so you can see it in all its glory, just for one final time. There you go. Look at that.
Oh, Teddy,
Look at
Teddy.
Jamie, you breathe it in.
Still fits.
You breathe it in.
I just told you I'm just back from Greece. I'm still carrying a little holiday weight right now. So.
Good stuff. And until next time, come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.